Are you concerned about noxious weeds? If you said no, I wasn't either until I started working for my county's noxious weed control crew. A noxious weed is defined as a weed which is considered to be harmful to the environment or animals, especially one which may be the subject of regulations governing attempts to control it. Today I will explain to you why there is a need to control noxious weeds, example of noxious weeds in Montana, and how to eliminate them. Under Montana law, landowners are required to maintain control over the noxious weeds on their property. I live in an area where farming and ranching is the sole livelihood for most of the community members. Many of the noxious weeds that we control are harmful to livestock and humans. Most of the time, livestock will leave the weeds alone. However, if it is a bad year and not enough grass is available, the livestock will eat the weeds, which can cause them to become sick or even die. Weeds compete with native plants for nutrients, space, light, and water. The weeds will overtake and outgrow the native plants, limiting a healthy food source for livestock. If weeds are not controlled, there can be serious consequences to the community's ranches and farms. There are 4 main noxious weeds in my county: leafy spurge, Canada thistle, hound's tongue, and poison hemlock. Different states have different types of noxious weeds for their area. A noxious weed in North Dakota might not be a concern in Montana. It just depends on the region. Leafy spurge is a perennial plant with a yellow-greenish flower. It can produce seeds that explode from seed pods and travel up to 20 feet. Leafy spurge is toxic to cattle and horses. Canada thistle is a perennial plant that produces pink to purple flowers. They are non-toxic, but they have an extensive nutrient storage, causing them to take over native plants. Hound's tongue is biennial and has velvety rosette leaves that resemble a hound dog's tongue, hence the name. The seeds are very adhesive and stick to anything and everything. Hound's tongue is toxic to horses, cattle, sheep, and goats. Poison hemlock is a very tall biennial plant that can grow up to 12 feet tall. The stem is hairless and has noticeable purple blotches. Poison hemlock is poisonous to cattle and humans. There are many different ways to control noxious weeds. One of the most popular methods is chemical control. The method consists of using herbicides. It can be extremely effective, but is also expensive. Another method is mechanical control. Some forms of mechanical control include hand pulling, tilling, mowing, and burning. This method is inexpensive, however, it takes the most time. The last method I'm going to discuss is biological control. This method consists of grazing and insect feeding. The fallback to this method is that it does not completely eradicate the weeds. Noxious weeds can be harmful to livestock and humans and will take over much needed space for native plants. There are different types of noxious weeds in different parts of the country, and noxious weeds can be controlled chemically, mechanically, and biologically. Hopefully, after listening to this, you can now understand the need to control noxious weeds.